6 o'clock, and I expect our other council member to be here momentarily, so if I can have your indulgence, I'll just wait for a few minutes and hope Kathy shows up very soon. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. One of the things I would like to say before we start is we have a new member of our committee this evening, Jean Schaff. I'd like to welcome Jean. Jean's been very active in many ways in town, so I'd like to have all of us welcome her to this committee.
Thank you very much.
So as normal, we will now start with the Pledge of Allegiance and the roll call.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have the roll call?
Mayor Dobby.
Here.
Councilmember McKeithen. Here. Committee members Ruggiero.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Sweeney.
Here.
Solari. Here. And Schaff.
Here. Okay. Goodbye, Joe.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of our minutes, and these are the minutes of March the 8th.
Make a motion to approve.
So I have a motion to approve. Are there any additions or subtractions or any other form of amendments?
One correction, please. At the bottom of the first page, it says that Sweeney spoke to a Caltrans engineer who estimated the roundabout that ended up costing upwards of. And that Caltrans engineer is my son, and that was me that was talking there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, that was you, Irvin, so Sweeney.
That's correct.
We make that correct. Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Right page here. So are there any committee reports? No committee reports. Any public comments at this stage for items not on tonight's agenda? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sabina Gentry, and I'm here on behalf of Atherton and the town's Environmental Programs Committee, simply doing some outreach to let you know about a new project that's been launched in the town of Atherton. The town's Environmental Environmental Programs Committee, with the town council, passed a resolution last year authorizing to go for a California Energy Commission grant, which was received by Atherton and 4 other peninsula communities that's funding the High Energy Homes Project. This is designed for residents in larger homes, specifically using larger amounts of energy. It's a free online software tool that, using the residents' PG&E smart meter data, can help the resident analyze their energy usage and break the usage out in loads. And then the software provides specific customized recommendations that will help you lower your PG&E bills. This is free for the residents in town, and since we have to serve over 1,000 households in this community, we're simply doing outreach with all of the other towns' committees to let them know about this program that you can access. So if you have larger PG&E bills and you've lived in your home at least 12 months, and you're interested in an easy online software tool that will help you lower your PG&E needs, we invite you to visit the website, either at actera.org or through the town's website. If you click on the Atherton 2020 program, you can get more information through the Environmental Programs Committee about it and get access to the program through their website also. Thank you.
Jim, I'd like to clarify, this was stated at the Park and Rec Committee meeting as well.
Right.
All Atherton residents should sign up. because they need a certain number by the end of the year, including those of you who have solar. I know I have solar, and it says if you don't have a smart meter, you can't sign up. If you have solar, you can't sign up. The fact of the matter is, although Actera is dealing with people who have a minimum electric bill of $500 per month, there is some money, and after this study is done, that grant money is going to go toward doing energy audits for other people in the town who do not have those high energy bills. And so when you sign up, they will come to you in time and do that energy audit for you. And we do need people to sign up, so please do sign up, even if you have solar, as I do, even if you don't have a smart meter, which you would not for electric if you have solar. Sign up at the 2020 Environmental Committee website, please. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, I'll move to the next item on the agenda, which is presentations, and we have no presentations this evening. The next item is the item that I'm sure of which most of you are here for, and it's a discussion and possible action to reconsider closure of Holbrook Lane at the county border at 17th Avenue. Now, I've had a tremendous amount of correspondence in this, but before we get into this item, I would like to have our city attorney make a statement, which I think will be very significant regarding this. Bill?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the committee, with plenty of apologies, I come late to this process, but unfortunately I also bring history with this. It's simply not legal for the town to close a street with a bordering community without first going through a rigorous process, including, in all probability, an EIR. There's a court decision out of 1998, City of Hawaiian Gardens in Long Beach, and in that case the court flat says if you have a street that ends on one side of the boundary and goes on to the other, it becomes a regional matter. And so neither city can simply say, well, on behalf of our residents, we need to close this street, and we don't care about the people on the other side. Or we may care about them, but we're going to close it anyway. And the court said, no, you cannot do that. You cannot close it because all streets that are not privately owned in the state of California are subject to the California state codes, specifically Vehicle Code Section 21101. And because of that, now all streets that transcend a boundary become regional streets. And you can't simply say, we're going to close it, even though it would make good sense from our perspective to do so, without first either having it in your general plan circulation element, something that says this is a good idea, which of course would require an EIR, it's a change to your general plan, or you can do it upon a finding that this is necessary after doing appropriate environmental studies. And the courts have simply gone out on this limb and said closure requires compliance with CEQA, and it requires a finding that the road will not impact the health and safety of residents of the other area. They know what you're going to say about your area, but they want to make sure you can make that finding. Of course, that finding has to be upon substantial evidence that's in the record. So before you can close it, even on a trial basis, you would have to take these necessary interim steps. It's pretty clear, it's pretty consistent. Contrasted with the City of Berkeley case out of 1982, where they said you can do anything or a lot of things short of closure without putting it in your general plan, as long as they don't stop the free flow of emergency vehicles, through traffic, things like that, that would otherwise make sense. In Berkeley's case, they actually went back and amended their general plan, did an EIR, spent a ton of money, and actually closed a number of streets to prevent people leaving football games from cutting through and destroying the quality of residential neighborhoods. So, Mr. Mayor, in a nutshell, the answer is you cannot close it even temporarily now. You potentially could in the future if you went through a number of other steps, but those steps are way down the line.
Okay, thank you. I would like to apologize for the fact that this ruling has come our previous attorneys, when we discussed this, did not give us this opinion, and therefore, you know, we probably have spent quite a lot of time with many people looking at street closures as one part of the traffic impact problem, and therefore, you know, I think that at this point, that is not one of the options, but there are many, many other options for traffic calming purposes. So having said that, I will now bring it back to the committee for their comments and recommendations before we come to the public. Let's the committee talk first. Any committee comments?
I guess trying to recollect and reading the history of what we've been through for as long as I've been on the committee talking about this, I think there have been talk about doing things where the county would restrike Marsh Road and maybe put in no right turn between particular hours onto Fair Oak. And I'd be interested to know if that's still in play, and if so, why nothing's happened on it.
Well, I'll answer unless somebody else wants to. One of the solutions that we had previously thought of that would be the better solution for everybody in that area would be a no right turn on Marsh Road prior to 17th Avenue from the hours of 7 to 9:30 or whatever other hours the traffic seems to be the most. We have tried at length to get the county to agree to that, and the last time, which is some time ago, they just basically said they weren't going to do it. So I would encourage the county residents, if we have any of them here tonight, to get together with their legislator and their representatives on the county to see whether or not they would reconsider that. One of our town employees at the moment is working with Mike Kashawagi, is working with the county, and hopefully he may be able to get that agreement, but I don't think it's certain. The other possibilities to help everybody in the traffic calming process, especially in Holbrook, would be to put in things like bumps and chicanes and things that would make it, let's say, less attractive for cars to go through there. So again, I would say, are there any? Yeah, Kathy, go ahead.
Well, there's a third thing, and this is something that I believe Mike can elucidate a bit further about, that the county is actually, I believe, considering right now, and that is narrowing Marsh Road farther up from where the gasoline station is that does all the car washes, so that the traffic forms a single lane farther up, and there's less initiative to want to turn at that corner. Why on earth the county won't just go ahead and not only do that, but install a no right turn at that corner, I don't know. But clearly, numbers always matter to us. So I would think that it might also matter to the Board of Supervisors. And if a lot of people showed up at the Board of Supervisors and said, it's all well and good to have a narrowing of that road where it becomes one lane sooner rather than later, but why not a sign as well? We cannot put the sign up, Atherton, because it's not Atherton property. And we can't enforce anything that we put up without that sign. So we need the sign. But Mike can explain further. And let me say one other thing. Many of you sent emails saying, why were we not at that last community meeting? For a very simple reason. We didn't know. We didn't know it was being held. We were not told until we started receiving emails from you. We knew there was going to be a community meeting. We asked that there be such a community meeting with residents of Atherton as well as the county, but we didn't know that it was going to be held at that time and place. We had received no notice whatsoever, so excuse us. Mike?
Yes, as an update with regards to Marsh Road, I did speak with, and I met with the county a week or so ago, and they are in fact actively looking at eliminating that outside right lane. There are some businesses and apartments and driveways along that stretch, so it's something that they are looking at. It needs to be looked into, some details. You just can't go out there and take away the lane. So, but the county is actively looking at that, and they plan on actually eliminating that lane here in the near future. With regards to the no right turn at Fair Oaks, that's something that, they wanted to consider as a second phase. What they want to do is first eliminate the outside lane on Marsh Road, and then see what the impacts and improvements of that are. And then depending on the results, then they indicated they're, willing to take a look at the no right turn, but they want to do this in a phased manner, and they want to first eliminate the lane on Marsh Road.
Could I ask you a question? It would seem to me that, well, maybe they feel that the impact of narrowing the road to one lane is really going to be felt more by Atherton, whereas the no right turn could be both an Atherton and an unincorporated area issue. That's a guess. But why? It would seem to me that narrowing the road is so much more of a task, and certainly a much more substantial undertaking in terms of cost, than simply putting up a no right-hand turn sign. What is the resistance?
Well, I think what the question is by doing that, where does the traffic go? And so, that I think is one of the concerns of the county, is they want to make sure that they have good information before they actually, make that decision to put the sign up.
Hello, Duncan.
I was going to say that I think narrowing Marsh Road in my mind is certainly by far the less desirable of the two. I think the no right turn would be far more desirable. I'm not sure narrowing Marsh Road would make too much difference to people that want to turn right. And I would say, Mike, that please put as much pressure as you can on the county to see why they will not agree to that no right turn, which basically would cost them $100 to put up, and I think would help all of our residents, both county residents and Atherton residents.
I think it could exacerbate it, because as you bottleneck there, and you have more cars than ever on that single lane,
Yeah,
they're going to say, let me turn.
absolutely. I think you can make it worse. So, any other comments from the committee?
No, not as it is right now. If they put the sign up, it can be enforced. But we can't enforce anything because it's not on our property.
My understanding wasn't that they weren't going to physically narrow it, they were just going to restripe it to force the traffic over.
What difference does it make if it's a single lane?
It's really, it doesn't cost much to stripe.
I don't think that's going to make a difference. Any other committee comments?
Well,
Okay.
I'm a neophyte here.
Yeah, go ahead, Jean.
Okay, I read through everything, and I was really struck by the thought that all the residents put into their letters and their communication. It was really marvelous to read through all these things, and I can really see the problems that have ensued. And this will show you that I don't know all the history here, but something has to be done. Holbrook has to have some furniture put up temporarily until the county gets going. I mean, they seem to be wanting to study everything 6 months. I mean, we can be 3 years down the way and they're still studying. So, but the thing that struck me is here, the Barton Bridge dumps everybody out on Marsh Road. Now, I heard that they were going to go to Woodside or they were going to go someplace else. How come they don't have another way to get out of that particular thrust from the bridge, et cetera? Is it in the works? Is it?
No, it's going to get worse because of some of the new proposals that Menlo Park has on the other side of
Bohannon's project.
Bohannon's
Trying to
project.
make it
Much worse. Well, what's wrong with the state that they haven't got some kind of plan for this? Because this whole group of people are hurt by all of this impact. And unless, it seems to me, something is done about the way they funnel the traffic, I mean, that'll take longer. But I mean, it should be in the works. There should be another way for people to leave that area and get out of there so they don't have to go down Marsh Road solely.
The only way conceivably is, I mean, one of the letters wrote about making it 4 lanes along Middlefield and Marsh, and I shudder when I read that, because what does it mean, Middlefield Road, when you take all the trees down and, build it and they will come, kind of thing. But it's been proposed to cover up the channel and make that another lane.
Yes.
very expensive. The channel is not in the greatest state of repair right now. That one wall has started to shift somewhat. You see it's just been resurfaced, but if prior to it being resurfaced, you could actually see the cracking. There's millions of dollars of repair that has to be done in that before you'd ever want to consider just covering it all up. And while Menlo Park, as part of those projects across 101, has suggested that they might be willing to give some money to Atherton as because of the fact that traffic would be moved in our direction, it's not going to be enough to work out a solution to cover up and repair the channel. And the channel doesn't get that nearly enough money to do the work. So there's a real conundrum as to what to do with that increase in traffic once that occurs, let alone the situation we have right now.
I don't think, Gene, that we can do much relative to your suggestions about convincing the state to do something about traffic coming up the Dumbarton Bridge.
Well, they had a plan initially that was supposed to go down
A long
Woodside,
time
right?
ago, and it was nothing ever happened as far as I remember. One thing I would say, and I'll get to you in a minute, one thing I would say is that I've driven now at least 3 times up in that area myself, going off Marsh Road into all the various streets up there. And it's clear to me that the easiest bypass by far is Holbrook. And I'm not saying that there aren't cars going in the other direction. And I would say that one of the things this evening, if people are willing to discuss it, would be that how do we make it more difficult for cars to go along Holbrook with things that are legally possible, such as, you know, roundabouts or chicanes or whatever it is that we can do legally, and our town attorney says that's all within our jurisdiction. So at that point, I will say I will turn it over to the public. So get up, whoever it is first, and say your name, and please go to the...
Okay, Neil Adler, I live on 17th Avenue. I have one quick question. Why can't you put a sign up on Holbrook Lane saying no left turn onto Holbrook Lane out the middle road? And why can't you enforce that? I don't understand.
Because it's on the county side.
Oh, it's on the county side. So you can't put a sign there, and then when people go into the Atherton side, the west end, so the sign has to be at the Atherton border. Why can't you enforce that?
Because of the Atherton border, there's no piece of property that we can put it on that's Atherton property.
I don't understand.
Duncan, do you want to explain where the sign has to be?
Well, I think his question has to do with the no left turn from Middlefield.
From Middlefield?
No,
No, I thought he was saying from Marsh.
Left turn off north going Fair Oaks Avenue onto Holbrook Lane.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that was actually Atherton's initial request several years ago that went to the North Routes Council and then the North Routes. And it had to go through the county process because it is county property over, you know, Fair Oaks Avenue and Holbrook, or in 17th is in the county. So when we went to North Fair Oaks Council, there was a lot of community input at that meeting where they said, we'd rather have something that addresses the whole community rather than just Holbrook Lane, which is where the idea of the no right turn from Marsh to Fair Oaks Avenue came from.
Okay. Let me just make a quick statement, maybe 2 minutes. Traffic is abysmal. I can't believe how many people are cutting down the avenue. I feel sorry for anybody who lives west of Fair Oaks Avenue. It's just abysmal. There was a sign there for a while saying no left turn. I took my car, I parked it on the side, kind of just with a clipboard, and every car that turned, I started writing down the license plate, and then they couldn't stop. And I said, there's a sign, it's new, so you won't get a ticket, but this is a courtesy. And they said, oh, I'm sorry, should I turn around? Almost everybody was nice. I said, no, go ahead, just don't do it again. And I just did it on my own initiative, and you know, I think if people did that every day for a few weeks, it would cut it down, because apparently the county can't enforce it, and you can't enforce it. So it's bad, and something needs to be done. However, if you close the street, someone like me, I am on call, I have to run to do surgeries at Stanford or the VA. If I have to try to get out of my house at 7 or 8 o'clock, and the street is closed, I have to go into Marsh Road. It will take me 10 more minutes to get to Stanford. Or I have to go up to 15th, and then that intersection is already dangerous, someone's gonna die there. And if you make more traffic, people going straight, people going left, people going up middle to making left, it's gonna get worse, someone will die. And if the street gets closed, like it did last time, we had a big protest. We TP'd the wall of shame, we got the newspaper involved, there were pictures, made Atherton look very bad. Now the North Fair Oaks community is much more unified. We have an email list. We've had a wave of crime, we took care of that. We built a county park, we took care of that. Now they want to take out the tree, we're addressing that. They want to take out Flood Park, we're addressing that. It's a strong unity. I will park my van on the Atherton side, so I can go out and come back, and I'll leave my van there. I will organize a protest. It will look very bad, it will be in all the newspapers, and it will look shameful, whether it's right or wrong. So that should be the final nail in the coffin.
Well, I mean, the
Well, why don't we
alternative of
work
closing,
together to
Oh,
work out?
that's much better, certainly.
the alternative of closing the street is off.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, could I ask a question? I believe when one member recuses him or herself, we have to leave the room. Is that-
That's correct.
Yeah, Joan, we do have to leave. the-
Oh, no, sure. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put this on the,
I think this gentleman is supposed to go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to hear us, and from the comments, it sounds like you really are hearing us, and I appreciate that. My name is Wayne Sigmund. I've lived on 15th Avenue for 22 years and sort of watched this. I wasn't involved in the previous closure, but I think the previous gentleman was right. There's a lot of people concerned and we're more organized, so we appreciate you listening to us. I just wanted to say one thing about the previous meeting. We had one representative from the county, Joe Lococo, who was the only person that we could speak to about what I think we all agree on, which is that no right turn signs off Marsh Road that are enforceable are the simplest and the best. And they actually should protect the entire neighborhood. It shouldn't just be Fair Oaks. It should also be the couple of streets previous. And when we pressed him on this, which we did at length at the previous meeting, his response was they were concerned about the traffic shifting to Spring. And if you look at the maps, you'll realize what he's talking about is there's some businesses on Edison, and Fifth Avenue really probably should have gone through to 101 a long time ago and so forth. But our neighborhood is residential, both on the Atherton and the county side. And people can get to the Edison businesses other ways, especially at that time of morning. People are not driving all the way down through all of our circles with the big oak trees that all of us work together to put there. And I think that, especially you, Jim, have really recognized that the one shortcoming on the Atherton side is the lack of traffic calming devices on Holbrook. They were implemented in a shoddy, inexpensive manner, pulled prematurely. They don't carry the weight that ours do now. And 15th was just rebuilt, and as a part of that process, they put in some really nice concrete chicanes that look good, will last, and that's what you guys should shoot for on your side, is good, solid traffic calming measures. People said at the previous meeting, residents on Atherton, on Holbrook, had to leap out of the road. Well, that must have been a hell of a leap, because it's the broadest avenue anywhere in the neighborhood. It's an encouragement to speed down there. And, you know, I'm for working together, but I'm kind of of the same mind, that if you guys were to press forward with closing the street and creating a nice cul-de-sac for a couple of residents in Atherton, I'd be inclined to park my trucks and trailers there. It's a nice quiet cul-de-sac, it won't be crime, and there's nothing illegal about leaving them there for 72 hours. And actually, I've recently learned that you park for 72 hours, someone complains, I could move them for 10 minutes, as long as I'm at 0.2 of a mile, and bring them right back. So, of course, I'm not going to do that. I'm very excited about the fact that we've all worked together, and the traffic calming measures on our side work really well. I've been there 22 years. So that's what I would press for you guys. And I would also ask, would the traffic committee in Atherton be willing to put in writing a request to Joe Lococo at the county that we want these no right turn lanes. We think it's the best way. Only the county can do it. We can't do it. That's what we want. Put it in writing. Send it to them. We'll support it.
Thank you. I have no problem with this gentleman here.
My name is Zoe Pitino, so I want to address a few items right away. I'm not an attorney. If I do research, I'll challenge the attorney's claim. Everything you said is very correct. There's one exception. You cannot do that unilaterally. It has to be quid pro quo. We have to. The town has a right to ask another side to cooperate and to help. You the other side doesn't cooperate, towns has the right to do what is best for their citizens. It's very clear. The duty is to protect the residents. We don't want to shift the traffic to another street. The reason we're here is because we want to work together. And this is why, by the way, I have this numerous examples in the emails that I send you of how people protect their residents. No right turn, no left turn, and bicycle lanes. Okay, this is for the respect right. Second item. I'm glad the North Fair Oaks community is organized. 2 years ago, by the way, everybody, today is exactly 5 years since we started this process. To the day. 7/11, actually, day plus. 7/11/2006, we started this process. Okay, you know, we got, this is how far we got. Nobody, no attorney told us this is not right. Anyway, this is after the North Fair Oaks Council directed everybody to collect, to gather information whether or not the no right turn sign, okay, would be the solution. So we gathered door to door more than 300 signatures for all the residents in North Fair Oaks, everybody who could reach. This is a copy. But the original was submitted to the North Fair Oaks Council. When this North Fair Oaks Council related that to the county came up with several counter proposals, ignored their residents' wishes and requests, blunt, and created proposals, several proposals, none of which were ever implemented, which is a dragging their feet. You know why? Because there's no money in it. The sign is $100, you're right. Okay. They want $100,000 studies. They want projects on which they can milk money. Otherwise, there's no point of doing anything. Third, chicanes and bumps, whatever. First of all, you don't have money. We don't have money to pave over. This street has been on the list for how long, Duncan? How long has been our street on the list to be repaved?
Well, every street is on the list to be repaved, so it's a question of.
Okay, well, the question is, you don't have money to simple pave, forget the bumps. Now, if you do the bumps, it's going to be the ugliest thing in the world. It's going to take you 10 years to do it, okay? And the most important thing, if we do the bumps and the traffic shifts to other lanes, what are you going to do? Remove the bumps? Okay? These are the things that I want you to consider. We need to get the county, okay, to, by threatening, that we have the right, that ultimately, we have the right to close the street. Yes, maybe it's not that straightforward, but it's ultimately we do. If they do not care about their residents, if they do not care about Atherton residents, this is the ultimate decision. They need to protect the entire neighborhood. The whole North Fair Oaks neighborhood stood up for the grandma tree with a water project. Save our tree. Nobody, 300 plus signatures on that thing, nobody ever, how did I know of, wrote or called Supervisor Gibson to go along with North Fair Oaks Council decision to do the turn sign. More, their voices to go cut down our oak trees along Marsh to make the marsh higher.
But your time is basically up. So you have 3 minutes and you've had your 3 minutes, so I would thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm Richard Abrams, and I live in Cedars Avenue in Atherton. First of all, better late than never with respect to the city attorney's determination. The last saying Atherton needs a lawsuit, which it sounds like proceeding with the street closure would invite. The only thing that I'd like to add to the discussion that I don't think we've talked about is the fact that we've been assuming that the entire problem is cut through traffic from Marsh Road along Fair Oaks and then up through the neighborhood. But, you know, I live in Placitas, and every day at 5 o'clock or so to about 5:45, the traffic backs up from that Marsh light, sometimes past Placitas into Redwood City. And cars who are frustrated by that wait, because that light might cycle 3 or 4 times before you can turn left, are cutting through the neighborhood in that direction. So if we're going to deal with this, I believe that a no right turn sign on Marsh, while helpful to reduce traffic in that direction, is not going to address the reverse issue at the end of the day. And you know, for that reason, it may be that the best solution is no left turn signs both on Middlefield with respect to the cut-through streets and on Fair Oaks with respect to the cut-through streets. When I spoke to Joe Lococo at the community meeting to ask him why the county was reluctant to put a sign in, first of all, he said, we're not saying no, we just need to look at it more closely. The other thing he said, and somebody else mentioned this, is that they're concerned about the folks who want to go through on Fair Oaks down to the businesses and to Fifth Avenue. And of course, the last thing we want to do by entirely eliminating that possibility is increase the traffic problem on Marsh for people who might otherwise go off, not cut through the neighborhoods, but go down Fair Oaks. So I just point out that it is a complicated problem. No left turn signs on the cut-through streets may be the best and least impactful negatively approach. Thank you.
Who's next? Lady. Please state your name.
I'm Jenny, and I've had a house on Palmer Lane for 20-some years, and was certainly present when the last extremely divisive suggestion that we close Holbrook happened. And I know what it did to the community as a whole. The good thing that came out of it was the community in North Fair Oaks coming together. I'm really relieved that you're not going to go ahead and do this closure